What's up, everybody? I am Finn Mckenty. This is my second channel where I talk about business and marketing and entrepreneurship, personal development, all that kind of stuff that's not really a fit for my main channel. In today's video, what I'm going to do is go through exactly how much money I made from the ages of 15 or 16 till 36, which is the first time that I made over $100,000 a year. Before I do that though, I wanted to quickly give a shout out to one of the people that I took through my social media coaching program. You can find her on TikTok. Her name there is Dance a Lily. She hit 10,000 followers on TikTok in like a month. Congratulations to her for putting in the work. She did it. As always, if you are interested in that, there's a link to that in the description. So why am I doing this? Well, it's definitely not to brag because as you'll see, there's not like a lot to brag about. I can't be like Grant Cardone and be, let me tell you how I made $1 billion by the time I was 34 years old. And the way that I got the idea for this video is actually from an old episode of Loveline where Adam Carolla did this. You get a piece of paper from Social Security every so often that tells like how much money you made every year. He read that on air. He was basically a complete fucking loser until he was 31. Adam and I grew up, like the way he describes the way he grew up is scarily similar to the way that I grew up. And I was like, well, if Adam was a loser until he was 31, but then he figured it out and his life kind of came together after that, well, then I can do it too. I said, I'm gonna figure my shit out by the time I'm 31, and I actually pulled it off, which is pretty amazing. So that's why I'm doing the video, and here are the numbers. The first job I had was when I was 15. I worked in a movie theater, and minimum wage then was $4.90 an hour in Washington, which is how much I got paid. I think I only worked there for like, I don't know, 6 or 9 months or something like that. I got fired for basically mouthing off to the boss. After that, I got a job at a print shop in the town where I grew up, and I worked there from when I was 16 until I was 18, and I got paid $5 an hour there. I got a 10-cent an hour raise. After that, I moved to Cleveland, and I got a job at OfficeMax, and I think I made maybe $6 an hour there. This is 1996. And then I got a job at Kinko's. Kinko's is what FedEx used to be called. They bought Kinko's and turned them all into FedEx. I worked there for 2 years, and I think I made like $8 an hour there, which I was ecstatic about because again, going from $6 to $8 an hour is like, holy shit, I'm rich. After that, I moved back to Seattle and tried unsuccessfully to get a job in the kind of tech scene that was happening at the time. This was like the original .com era, but I got there right as that was kind of imploding. And so I was not able to take part in that. And instead, I got a dead-end job at another shitty print shop, which I absolutely hated. And I worked there for 2.5 years, maybe. I think I made like $11 an hour there, which again, I was pretty happy about. I hated the work though. It was hard. You know, I mean, printing is kind of like construction. It's like really, at least the version of printing that I did, it's like very high pressure, demanding, like loud, smelly, like not fun work. I got fired from that as well, again, for having a shitty attitude, but I was kind of okay with that because I sort of wanted to be fired. And I was 23 then, and I ended up freelancing for maybe about another year or so, just kind of taking whatever work I could get. I made another video about this, like how I met Chase Jarvis and ended up kind of working for the ad agency that he owned at the time. I don't remember exactly how much money I made that year, but it wasn't much. Barely made enough to get by. And I remember talking to one of the guys I worked with, and I was just like, well, I only need $1,000 a month to survive, so I'm happy with that. So I think I made about $12,000 that year. But I was like, okay, I'm not getting the kind of traction that I want here. And this is kind of the big takeaway that I want to make with this video. It took me a good solid 10 years to figure my shit out, but I kept trying the whole time. I tried and failed and tried and failed and tried and failed. If I knew then what I know now, I could have done it way faster, but that's not how life works. I had to just figure it out. I realized that this was not gonna work. Like me freelancing and trying to get jobs at agencies and shit like that just wasn't gonna work, at least not in Seattle. So I said, there's cool shit happening in New York, I should move there. So I did, and I was 24, this is 2002. And what's crazy to me is that I moved there without a job or a game plan or anything like that. I think I maybe had saved up $3,000 or some like small amount of money. I worked there for a year. I worked at this place called NYCD that was, we did like CD manufacturing, DVD manufacturing and stuff. I made $40,000 a year there. And then I think I made probably about another $5,000 that year from freelancing on various things. I did some work for Chase Jarvis and a few other clients. So I probably made like $45,000 that year when I was 24, which I felt pretty okay with. And I hated living in New York, like absolutely hated it. I understand why other people like living there. I hated it. Still felt like I was not on the path that I wanted to be on. So I said, I need to go back to school. So I did. I made a video about this, also about why I decided to go back to school at 25. I went to the University of Cincinnati, and my first year there, I made a grand total of $0. I got student loans to pay for my living expenses, which is part of the reason why my student loans were so high. After that, I did pick up some freelance work, and I started working for Flow, the DVD magazine that I mentioned. Flow was super cool, but it was a crazy amount of work in addition to going to school. And I think I got paid $3,000 per issue of that. We did 4 issues a year. So I basically made $12,000 when I was 26. Then when I was 27, I was still doing Flow the next year. So probably did a little bit of other freelancing and stuff then, but maybe I made $15,000. I quit Flow because it was just like killing me to work that hard. And then I started working at Kaleidoscope, which is a product design firm that I worked for the next 4 years, I guess, 3-4 years. We did industrial design and engineering. Stuff I worked on mostly was like Procter & Gamble, so like Febreze and Swiffer were the big ones. I was 27 then, and I probably made $20,000 that year. Continued working there. I got hired full time. I don't remember exactly how much I made, but I do remember that by the end, when I was 30, in my last year of school, I made $40,000 a year. Now, that's $40,000 a year in Cincinnati, which goes a lot farther than $40,000 a year in New York. But remember, I'm 30 years old, and I'm just about to graduate from college, still only making $40,000 a year. I probably did a little bit of freelance also as well, so maybe it was $45,000 in total. But point is, I was not making a lot, even at 30. Very disheartening. I never wanted to get rich. All I wanted to do was just be able to go to sleep at night and not like worry about money the next month. That's my whole life. I had always worried about money that way because, I grew up fairly poor when I was little. My mom was single, on welfare, all that stuff. And, even then after that, we lived off my dad's income, and he was a corrections officer, so he didn't make a lot of money. My whole life I had worried about money, and all I just wanted was like I don't care about being rich. I just don't want to fucking feel stressed about money all the time. And here it is, 30 years old, and I'm still worrying about money. But just like Adam Carolla got his shit together at 31, I kind of got my shit together at 31 also. That's when I got a job at Abercrombie and Fitch. I was initially a graphic designer there, eventually moved into marketing, but I started that maybe I think it was about 20 days after I turned 31. I remember standing there, I went to a Hollister store to kind of look at product and stuff right before I started that job, and I was like, holy shit, I did it. I said I was gonna get my shit together by the time I was 31. I set that goal 6 years ago, and I did it. Holy shit. Still amazed that I pulled it off. The offer they gave me was $51,000 a year in salary as an associate graphic designer there. They gave me, I want to say, a $6,000 signing bonus and $3,000 for moving expenses, even though I was moving from Cincinnati to Columbus, which is like a hour-and-a-half drive. I was like, I just get to keep the money? And they're like, yep, whatever. Just, that's your moving allowance. Take it. I was blogging at the time also, making a little bit of money from that, maybe $500, $300 to $500 a month from that. So in total, I probably made maybe $60,000 that year because of those bonuses. But I did not get those bonuses the next year. So the next year, when I was 32, I got a small raise like you do every year at corporations. They give you a 3 or 4% raise. So maybe I made $52,000 or something the next year, and then another, I don't know, $5,000 or something in freelance stuff from the blogging. So maybe I made $57,000 or something when I was 32. So that's okay. But, given that I had $90,000 in student debt and a car payment, and I was 32 years old and almost nothing saved for retirement, I felt like I was pretty far behind the curve. I worked there for about another year and a half after that. I moved into a marketing role where I got a nice raise. And I remember by the end of the time that I was there, when I quit Abercrombie, I was making $71,000 a year, I think. Plus they give you some stock and stuff like that, and I did some freelancing. So maybe I made close to 75 my last year at Abercrombie, between what I was getting paid there plus freelancing. Then I moved to Seattle. I said, fuck this, I'm out of here. No more Ohio for me. Moved back to Seattle again without a job. I didn't know what I was gonna do, but I will tell this story another time. But I ended up at CreativeLive, which is an online education company for creative people like photographers and graphic designers, people like that. Initially started there as just kind of a producer, which is sort of a just general title for somebody who gets shit done. I got $70,000. I got $75,000 because I remember I got a small raise from what I was making at Abercrombie. I was totally willing to take a pay cut because I just needed a fucking job, and I was so happy to be back in Seattle. I said, if they offer me anything over like 55, I'll take it, because that's like the bare minimum I needed to live. But fortunately, I didn't have to. I got $75,000 from CreativeLive there, plus again, maybe another $3,000 to $5,000 or something from freelancing. So let's say I made 80 grand that year. Got a couple more raises. The first year I made $100,000 was 2015 when I was 36 years old. So I was getting $90,000 a year at CreativeLive. And then I was freelancing and doing a couple side hustles and stuff that got me another $10,000. That's the first year I made $100,000. That's when I started being able to like actually pay down my debts, started to breathe a little easy, which again is all I ever wanted, just to do something fairly cool with myself and not have to stress about money. In hindsight, I could have achieved that 10 years sooner had I kind of known what to do. Like if I could go back in time and tell myself at 20 years old, like, all right, dude, here's what you're going to do in the next 5 years, I could have gotten there way faster. But you know, that's not how life works. So if you're watching this and you're wondering like, how am I ever going to get my shit together? Is this ever going to fall in place? The message is don't give up. I tried and failed and tried and failed and tried and failed many times before I ever figured it out. And again, I'm not like Grant Cardone. I don't have some like Lamborghini or something to show you as like, oh, look how successful I am. Like I enjoy what I do for a living, which is all I ever wanted. So if you are in this situation where you're wondering, is this ever going to work out? The answer is yes, it will work out as long as you don't give up. Keep at it, keep grinding. You will figure it out eventually, I promise. All right, so I hope that was helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you had any of these similar kind of like false starts, one step forward, two step back kind of moments, what you did to get over them. Let me know what you think in the comments. Congratulations again to Lily for crushing it on TikTok. If you are interested in my coaching program, there's a link to that in the description. And I will sign off for now, but I'll see you next time.